Welcome in to the Fantasy Advantage, where I'm giving you the advantage in fantasy football. Today I'm going to get into something that not a ton of people care too much about, at least, after about the top six, and that's tight ends. I did more of a deep dive on the first six, where I think they're going to land. And then the bottom four, I gave kind of just a quick rundown or like a few quick points of why I like them in that position. I did it so I can have, the complete package. I have my ranking list for every position for fantasy this year, offensive position, I should say. So, yeah, with that being said, let's get into this stuff and cue the music. Okay, so per usual, I cut right into it, so that's what we're going to do. Number one, shouldn't really be a big surprise. It's Brock Bowers. Real quick here, he came in as a rookie, led all tight ends in receptions and receiving yards. He did that while also having the most uncatchable targets. He had higher volume of targets, which will kind of play into that, uncatchable target rate. But with Geno Smith being there this year, I think you can basically count those, at least most of those, out now because he is the most accurate passer over the last, 2-3 years. So that should clean up a bit for him, as well as getting a few more touchdowns. He only had 5 last year. I think this year he'll get closer to like 7, potentially 8, with the offense being a little better. And they didn't add any significant players to the offense other than Gianti, who will get receiving work, but I honestly think that will open up the passing game a little more for Geno. So yeah, easy number one, Brock Bowers. Now, number two, I got somebody that's probably going to be a little bit of a surprise to people because it's not McBride, it's George Kittle. He just does everything so well, and it shows in the output, especially since Brock Purdy came and stepped in as the QB. Since that point, he's gained over 600 yards from deep and intermediate targets, and that's a solid jump from Jimmy G, which was about 300 to 500 yards. He's got the highest PFF grade among tight ends over the last 7 entire years, with a 94.3, and his highest blocking grade was 88.4. Sorry, 84.5, and that's from PFF. He's been top 5 in 6 of the last 7 seasons, and it would have really been all 7 if he didn't get hurt in 2020 and miss half the year, which he still had 125 points, which would be like 250 points at that pace, which is the best he's ever done. And with Debo being gone, I think that shifts the offense a little bit and puts a little more focus on Kittle. Now, CMC will be back. I do get that, but I don't think that Ayuk, or I think Jawan Jennings, really, I don't think he's going to get all of this work that people seem to think he's going to get. He'll have some games, but I really think Purdy and Kittle are going to work a lot, and Kittle's going to catch a lot of balls from him. So, yeah, give me George Kittle at number 2. Number 3, I got Trey McBride. This kid's very good, and he was another guy that I feel like he can be the number 1, but it's kind of hard for me in the situation that he's in. If he was on another team, it would be a little bit different for sure. He has all the tools to be a perennial top 3, and he's most likely going to be. The thing that prevents me from putting him at the 1 is that offense. They love Connor there, and as long as he's on the field, they're going to feed him the ball. Murray also likes to run. Together they rack up 314 attempts, and that doesn't include any of the other backs that get involved. I also believe that MHJ, he's going to get utilized better this season, and that's going to pull some of those targets away from McBride that he had this last year. And on top of all of this as well, Trey he just has an issue with like finding the end zone. He's never been a touchdown guy. And with nothing really changing in the offense other than maybe Marv getting some more work, I don't see why that will change much for him either. He gets a lot of targets and he'll get the catches and plenty of yards, but it feels like Kyler just likes to go somewhere else when it comes to the end zone. He still should be pretty good, still be great. I mean, he's in the top 3. I just don't see him getting higher than that. I think it's Kittle and Bowers for the top 2 this year. At number 4, I got a guy that I think people are just they're fading a little too soon, and probably a little too far, and it's Mark Andrews. He's been literally top 5 or 6 at least every year that he's healthy, and he still did, even though he was like definitely dealing with something this year. I know nothing was put out there, but there had to have been something. He was like barely on the field the first 4 games. Something was going on. But as soon as that ended, he went right back to his ways. He scored 11 touchdowns in 13 games. Like, that's what he does. He's the red zone freak. Like, he is the tight end, like, red zone guy. He had the 3rd most red zone attempts. This is last year. 3rd most red zone receptions with 12. 2nd most yards with 109. The most touchdowns with 10. And the most fantasy points from the red zone with 70.9. Which was 9 more than Kittle and 24 more than the next guy, Tucker, who was, 3rd. He also had the most points a game with 4.2 through the red zone. He's Lamar's first look most of the time, especially in the red zone, of course. And I think this year he's going to be back to form, and he's going to really want to correct for that drop in the playoffs against the Chiefs last year. I think he's going to come out wanting to prove that he's still the guy. A lot of people are saying that they're going to move off from him, and I got to be honest, I don't know why. Likely he's great and all, but he still owns the snap percentage. He'll be out there in the red zone. You can get him in like the 7th to 8th round this year. I actually did it in my first redraft, my way too early redraft I did for my community. And I'm very happy with that. You don't have to worry about tight end till that late, and you'll get what I assume to be a top 4, maybe top 3 tight end this year. So I think that's the cheapest he's ever been, except for like his rookie year. So I'm going to probably end up with a bunch of shares of Mark Andrews this year, and if I'm being honest, man, I think everyone should. I think this is the year to buy him. At the number 5, I've been a really big fan of this dude since he came into the league. He started with some injury issues, but he's actually been a lot better until last year. It's Evan Ingram. He's been playing incredibly well. In the 3 years with the Jags, he ran the 3rd most routes for tight ends, because he demands it. He's a guy with the talent that has to be on the field. You have to include him in the offense. Before he got injured last year, he was tight end 6 through 9 games, and that includes the game that he got hurt. He was averaging 7.5 targets a game in the full 8 games that he played. And that's with BTJ on the field with him. I think the biggest help from this year is actually going to end up being Sean Payton using him in that Joker role, which is kind of just putting him in all sorts of different spots on the field and utilizing his talent and creating a bunch of mismatches. That's been the rumor, is that's what they're looking to do with him this year. And he's the kind of guy who has the talent to make that work, and he'll exploit a lot of defenses. So yeah, easily top 5 for me. I'm a big fan of Ingram this year, have been for a few years. Give me Ingram, top 5, locked in. Number 6, kind of the last real guy on this list, and probably somebody that everyone's assuming should be here, is Travis Kelce. Now, I get it. I know a lot of people are probably going to think I'm a bit too low on him, but I got to be honest, I don't think I am, man. He's very clearly losing a step. He's 35 years old. He had the worst fantasy season he's had in the last 9 years. It was still top 5. I'll give you that. But I think there's a reason that it was like saved this year. All of the receivers, well, the top receivers for Patrick Mahomes were hurt. And when they're healthy, I think, especially coming into this year, them all being healthy creates the most competition for targets that Kelsey has ever had. Because when Hill was there, it was just Hill and Kelsey, really. And now there's like 3 guys outside of Kelsey that will eat up targets. Rashee Rice, especially in the first 3 games last year, was Mahomes' go-to receiver. And with him on the field, Kelsey was getting he got 4, 3, and 5 targets in the first 3 games and totaled 69 yards, no touchdowns. The looks are going away with these other guys on the field. Hollywood will finally be healthy and have a full off season with Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes and in the offense. And then you've got Xavier Worthy. He'll have some manufactured reps like throughout the whole year, and that's going to take some of those plays away from where I think they would manufacture Kelsey into the offense. So yeah, those are all going to eat into all of his work. He also significantly dropped down in avoided tackles per game. It said per game on PFF. Still feels kind of crazy to me. It was like 15.7 down to 4. He also dropped in yards after the catch from 7 to like 3.5. Now, he still had 26 targets and 19 catches in the red zone last year, but he only had 3 touchdowns, and that's the least that he's ever had. Father Time's undefeated, man, and I think it's finally coming for like the old boy, the old tight end one. I unfortunately think like this is the year that we're going to see Kelsey finally fall off pretty hard. The only thing keeping him in the top 6, which he still will be looked at, like Mahomes will still want to get him the ball, especially in like clutch situations. I think he'll get a few more touchdowns than 3 this year. So I do think he's still in that top 6. It's just really hard to imagine him being any higher with the fall off over the last like year or 2. So yeah, Travis Kelce at number 6. He's not doing it this year, man. He's not going to be tight end 1. Like I said, the last 4 guys, because once you get out of the top 6, everyone's kind of a crapshoot. You'll get a few guys like I would have had Jonnu Smith right around 6 until the trade to Pittsburgh. So he's out now. So these are all kind of guys that can be most likely in the top 10 and has a chance to get up into the top 5. I just don't see it being super likely. First one, Sam Laporta. The offense runs a lot. Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams, they take a lot of targets. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to take up a lot of targets. And the new OC has been very terrible for tight ends, averaging about 4 targets a game and having no good finishes when he's got like full reins of the offense. So yeah, Sam Laporta, because of the talent and he can still get in the end zone, I think that keeps him up in this range, but I'd honestly be not very shocked if he was lower than the 7 spot. Who I put at 8 is David Njoku. He's a physical specimen, but he's on a team with some mouths to feed now, with the potential of healthy Cedric Tillman, being back to form when he was doing well last year, and Jerry Jeudy kind of finally coming out and being like the alpha guy on the team. And Quinshon Judkins, he's on the team now and he can catch the ball. They're probably still going to want to run it a lot because of the biggest reason, the quarterback room's questionable at best. If Joe Flacco and him can be on the same page for the full season, I think he does actually have a good chance at finishing a little higher than this and potentially getting into that top 6. But the odds of it are fairly low in my opinion, because Joe Flacco may lose the starting job if he has it after, at the beginning of the season. He might lose it like midway through the season if they're not doing well. So yeah, I unfortunately, as much as I love Njoku, I can't put him higher than this. Number 9, I got Hunter Henry. He played a high snap percentage and he was targeted almost 100 times, but he didn't get a ton of yards for that. Only about 65 or 6 catches, like 650 yards and 2 touchdowns. The red zone is where the like higher tight ends make their money, especially in fantasy. And when you're not putting up those numbers and getting touchdowns or getting the red zone work, it's really hard to believe that you're going to do any better than the guys in front of them. The argument I do have, though, is that Drake May had like maybe 0.2 seconds to throw the ball last year, and they've done a lot of work to their O-line. So I do think if May has more time to give better passes to Hunter, that he will actually surpass this. He had a lot of really good plays. It was just not enough to really turn into a good fantasy output. But with the offense as a whole getting better, there is a chance that Hunter Henry actually can become like a main part of this offense, which I do think Drake May wants to throw the ball to him. So yeah, number 9 could be higher if things go the right way and the offense really does click like you hope that it will this year. Hunter Henry could be in the top 5, but it feels right putting him at 9 for now. TJ Hawkinson, number 10. Rounding out the top 10 here. He's very good when he's on the field. Problem is, I can't really see him having an overly productive year with JJ McCarthy coming in for his first year. TJ Hawkinson. Got him at number 10, rounding out this list. Very good when he's on the field. I just have a really hard time seeing him be overly productive with JJ McCarthy's first year of actual playing. And he's got Jefferson and Addison and the combo of like Felton and Naylor, especially Naylor in the red zone, eating up like a ton of the targets. And I don't think there's going to be a ton of targets with McCarthy this year. So I have to reel back on Hawkinson. I do like him. I just don't think this year it's going to work out for him very well. Top 10 still fine, but again, outside of the top 6, it's kind of like, you're okay with him. So if all goes well, he could end up a bit higher, but I just don't foresee it that way. So yeah, TJ Hawkinson at the 10. So that is my top 10 in tight ends. That finishes out my videos for the 2025 rankings. And it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. And especially, again, I've said this a lot being a one-man show here, but I get to now work on some things that I really want to get into, like focus on like a couple players and a couple other parts of fantasy that I'd like to get into that won't take so much. So, I'm not doing a list of 15 to 20 players and going in through all of their descriptions. So I'll start being able to put out, I think, hopefully more frequently. Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the list. Go back, take a look, and if you haven't seen the other ones, let me know what you think. Tell me if you agree or disagree. I'll put my Twitter in the description like I always do, so we can talk on there if you want to follow me there. And again, thank you for spending the time. If you watched all of them, I really, really appreciate it, man. This is fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, except for editing. Hate editing, but I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm really getting excited for the year. So yeah, thank you for hanging out, and stay hydrated.